This video is sponsored by WeWatch. The Addams Family is an absolute classic of a spooky themed tale. And they ruined it! Everything these days is getting an animated re-release, and so many of them are just bad. And this, from what I've heard, is one of the worst. The Addams Family 2019. Never saw it at the time. I'm actually not familiar with any Addams Family material because I'm a pleb. So let's make this my first introduction. This is the terrible animated Addams Family.
There's no ground when you fall for me.
Yep, this is an animated reboot, cramming in a modern song. There's no bell for when you call for me. But it's the morning routine for our mother, existing in the most extreme form of them yet. Ghostly thin legs drilling their boots and their makeup is their parents' ashes? Oh my god! As she walks through the streets to her wedding ceremony. Ah, Gomez and Morticia are being wed. What is the dress code in this place? There's a pilot outfit, a furry coat. Is this just because they're going to reuse the models at the end of the film? But then the civilians rise up against this Addams tradition.
Addams aren't wanted here!
And so our core family get out of there. There's references galore, but I don't get a lot of them. So I guess I'm just going through the kids' experience of meeting the family for the first time. Does the Hunchback have a history with a women's prison?
I think I can see my house from here. Oh no, that's a woman's prison.
Or why are they referencing that one song?
We put the lime in the coconut and drink them both up.
But whatever, with all these villagers always out to kill them, the Addams Family choose to relocate to a new, safe place.
Somewhere horrible, somewhere corrupt, somewhere that no one in their right mind would be caught dead in!
Nicely done.
Your hand is as cold as a dead fish.
My love, that is a dead fish.
So it is.
What the fuck? What kind of joke is that? And then, as they travel in the night, they hit someone, an escapee of an insane asylum.
Thank you, old boy. Lead the way.
And thus, their Frankenstein monster butler is established. And they get their theme tune straight away on the organ. Though it's a little bit too heavy-handed on the fan service for my tastes. Almost crass in how much it's winking at the audience, you know? That's good, though. And so we jump ahead to present day with all the kids. The house still trying to get everyone out, but it's relieved with coffee. Huh, Lurch literally dusting the house and...
Sing.
They really just did that in a child's movie. What a relatable hand. I'm liking these character gags. But now the kids are to be woken up, and Wednesday desires something interesting for this tedious day, only to notice a bicycle bell out of the grounds that flees before confrontation. And as for Pugsley... so he's set up for sword practice with Dad, only to turn it into a rocket ship action sequence, featuring Matrix dodging, crash fake-outs, and more lame jokes.
They blow up so fast these days.
Before the bombardment of explosions finally backfires on the boy and he crashes back to reality. 15 minutes and there is still no plot. And I'm guessing that that whole action sequence is a hint to how there's probably not going to be any more excitement like that for a while. And prepare for that slowdown, because this scene is a stunner. Gomez here finally introduces the plot as Pugsley needs to practice his swordplay for an event that brings all the Addams together for the first time in 13 years. And it genuinely feels like a parent talking to his child in the garden. Because it's boring. Look at these shots. I know we just had an action sequence, but this is getting a little too real. There's no creativity in this scene, just gags you've seen before that they don't even animate here. It's off screen. And so it's dinner time. I was going to complain about how so far this movie is kind of just a hangout movie, only to realize that was kind of what the good Addams Family movies were. But once again here, it's all mostly normal again.
Putrid.
Horrifying.
Pugsley's throwing knives, there is a lion around briefly, and then Uncle Fester rocks up through the window before sitting down at the table. But it's still mostly just talking. For being in the animation medium, you'd think there'd be a lot more usage of that fact. But it's played so dry. And not in the good way.
There's nothing out there but boring marshland.
There must be something. We never go anywhere.
Wednesday wants to investigate outside the grounds, but is disallowed, and Fester comes early to help with sword fighting. That's the plot from this scene.
Socrates, come.
Oh wait, that thing's called Socrates as well? We literally just covered a character with that name in the last Terrible episode. I'm sorry this camera's so up close. Moving on, we're now introduced to the real plot of the movie 20 minutes in, with Hag trying to sell real estate. It's always the real estate business in these cliche fests. But now on the scale of an entire neighborhood. Whoa, what is that design? Is that meant to be a normal human? I get why Morticia looks like she could snap in half, but look at this guy's head! It's massive! Why have you got all characters looking so deformed when the Addams are supposed to be the odd ones out? And this lady looks like she's walked right out of an Illumination movie. That at least makes sense, actually, as it's turned out during the early phases of development, this was intended to be an Illumination project. In 2010, Illumination Entertainment acquired the rights and began work on, get this, a stop-motion animation. And who was penned for that? Well, none other than the Tim Burton himself. What? And then development stopped, and we got this instead. Bland 3D aesthetics that look both too bright and too flat. But I'm too colorblind to break down why the shadings of this movie don't work or something. Anyway, remember that girl from outside the gates? She's her daughter, and tells the news that
I found a creepy mansion up on the hill.
Did Hag not scour the area before their plannings? And naturally, Parker here is shooed away. The movie's only an hour and 45 minutes, but boy does it need to pull out all the stops to pad out the runtime anyway, because there's no substance here. Here's the kids playing in the garden, Pugsley missing with his giant ballista and Wednesday burying him. Boredom is a serious crime. But hey, nice symbolism with that red balloon as a horror reference. Is that the point of it? There's also the occasional flair with Wednesday's dolly zoom, low angle lighting, pupil shrinking stare. But it's not much. Oh, the balloon is actually important.
There's usually a murderous clown attached to the other end of these.
Oh, not symbolic and subtle, direct. But it's an artifact of fun. As is the confetti that tastes like candy floss.
Candy.
How do you know what cotton candy tastes like?
Tish, it was my youth. I made mistakes.
It's weird. It's like a 50-50 coin flip of whether a joke lands or not to me. I hate one and like the other. Regardless, now the family noticed the neighboring town as they've drained the swamp and lifted the fog. And now Lurch is playing piano again for more of that Addams Family theme tune. Remember those classic piano notes, kids? Well, clearly not, but your parents will. Give us a good review on Rotten Tomatoes, because hooey, we love our nostalgic pandering. Who needs plot lines anyway? What is wrong with these takes? You don't even want to see the other ones. And it's literally just a transition scene. Miss Needle here is also now coming to discover the Addams after spending an embarrassing amount of time making a joke how she refuses to look out the window despite everyone's reactions. And so the family come in to view the new town. Am I stupid, or does Gomez look like completely normal? I guess his face is more forward than up, but like, how can this coffee shop be so disgusted by his appearance? He looks like one of them!
Everybody come together, sing our song, sing our song.
Jesus Christ! Look at their bindly little legs! I could pick my teeth with those limbs! There's only two body types in the human world. Snappable and rollable. It's literally just Pugsley and Wednesday again. This is abhorrent character design. At least it works with the Addams because they're supposed to look weird. But then I realized how lazy even these designs are, as off of the backs of that original Tim Burton pitch, MGM announced in 2013 that they would produce this film, basing it off the Addams Family comic, which, when you look at that source material, yeah, it's literally just these designs put into 3D. Talk about basic. At least Wednesday now has nooses in her hair. I like that. So the kids sing their cheesy song. We all recognize that one of the girls is that Parker girl from before. And then Uncle Fester sings as well, only to scare everyone away. You know these beats. But now Miss Needler's here to greet them. Okay. And she has a pitch to beautify their ugly home. Who knows how that's gonna go? And they accept, out of courtesy for accepting their new neighbors, even though they specifically wanted to run away from humankind to somewhere safe and unpestered. So is that your only role in this movie? Just soundtrack gags and heavily leaned references? Oh, brother. But now we're back at the house, we learn of the Addams sword display tradition. Pugsley gets a baby sword that squeaks on every swing.
Fester, hand him the Goo Goo Gaga baby training sword.
Which I guess is funny, but wouldn't they have covered this ages ago? Like last time he was supposed to be training? And the humans arrive. Of course Parker is a streamer, and while the adults are coerced indoors, Parker has the teenage experience. Because this movie knows this demographic's not gonna watch this crap, so it's not insulting the youth that are actually watching it, and it gets the parents giggling instead. Damn kids and their phones! But now should be the fun part. A crazy horror house attacking in its quirky ways. And we're off! Piranha plants, living polar bear rug, and Pugsley!
Pugsley's been climbing the walls in anticipation.
This is the kind of fun I would expect from animated Addams Family. Horror references and more slapstick impossible gags. I like that. Kinda wish Pugsley did it more, like a running gag that he travels everywhere via the walls like a weirdo. Just in the background or something. But anyway, as Margot here begins to eye up the house,
Let's take a look around, shall we?
you start to realize this house is actually really nice. Like, yeah, they dusted the place earlier and maybe the candles have gooped a bit too much, but this is still an immaculate aesthetic mansion. Maybe it's just because reality is a lot more tolerant than these cartoon caricatures of what is deemed evil, but it also just really doesn't work when you're looking at this unfolding. And then when we do get something genuinely ominous for this real estate business,
And here's our bottomless pit.
they give us a shockingly out of touch and dated joke with...
We call this surfing the web.
Is the target demographic for this movie people stuck in 2004 or something? It's a shame, because I really like some other gags they've shown off, but then they always shove a stale joke like this in there to really ruin the mood. It's impressive how formulaic it is to this love-hate relationship. But if you're liking this terrible series, come subscribe, or catch me on TikTok, how about that? If this movie's doing dated jokes, I'll do the same. And if you have more of a craving for the terrible, let me draw your attention to Under Control over on WeWatch. For this spooky season, I have done a recording of my entire reaction to this dreadful film. Plus, I made a drinking game too. WeWatch allows you to watch full-length movies with your friends like a video call, and you can co-watch influencers like me as well. You don't need a subscription and there are loads of demos, but if you want to see Under Control with me, use the code TROLLF30 for a free ticket to the first 30 people. Or if you never got around to watching me versus Sharknado, there are an unlimited amount of free tickets with the code DazzHalloween22. This is a special Halloween drinking game that I certainly couldn't do under YouTube's rules. So come here to see some exclusive content of mine. Now, Sharknado will be free until the end of the year, and any viewings of these unique recordings directly supports the channel. So I hope you enjoy. Check out the links down below in the description, and as long as you're on Google Chrome, you are good to go for movie watch parties over on WeWatch. With Parker outside, Wednesday is free to meet her now, creepily chatting as they peruse Ichabod the Tree. That's a nice dynamic location. But I can't find this crossbow joke funny. She keeps hitting the uncle, and he keeps disregarding it. Okay, is the extra joke here that she clearly should be missing, but it still hits him? Also, Pugsley is getting flung around violently across this mansion just to always be lined up for punchlines to some gag. And it's weird. Separately, the jokes are fine, but putting them back to back like this makes this whole thing feel less earned? So what does Margot have to improve the house?
There's really not much to do to make this place perfect.
No kidding, her suggestions only reach this one room, which is to knock down 2 walls, the ceiling, and replace the floor. What about the other 50 rooms? Is the gag she's saying to delete the whole thing? Then mention more than just this room. Plus, logically, it's more of an exterior issue since it's an eyesore problem. I know the logic doesn't matter that bad, but how hard is it for her to try and pitch pinkifying the outside or something to irk the family? This plot already isn't going hard, but this tangent is truly the outcome of putting zero effort in. But in 2 weeks is the family gathering and the business's big finale. Ooh.
Me too.
Is this flamboyant running problematic? If you're going to caricature certain types of people, why not have everyone so slapstick and goofy? It rubs me the wrong way that one person is cartoonishly gay and the other one, oh, you know, just runs normally. Come on, give me some arms in the air over the top running too. Everyone be goofy. And as a final kicker to the end of the scene, Gomez interprets the 50 houses plan as an invitation for the whole family. And they're chased off with a gate that munches on food. Love it. Full conflict is in swing. We very briefly get a scene of Wednesday requesting to go to school. It's worth skipping. The only gag is that Wednesday is in a jump scare mood, but the delivery isn't even close to well done. And now here she is, immediately spotting Parker and her school bully.
I'm not locked up in here with you. You're locked up in here with me.
Oh no. She's cringe. And now, Wednesday is in the mood for challenging the establishment. Here's Margot stirring up drama for the adults on social media, which is shockingly on brand for that demographic falling for fake news, but you can bet that that will go over their audience's head. Haha, funny, stupid teenager. And then we're back to Wednesday again. This time with a masterful scene where she in fact resurrects her frog in a dissection class. This is a classic gag in the making. And there's zombie frogs, Frankenstein reference. Mwah! Well, I see why the animation isn't generally that gung-ho. They spent all their efforts accurately hitting piano keys. What a waste. Anyway, it's time for another Addams appearance, this time with Grandma. She appears through the fireplace, and then we're back to the boring, elongated reverse shot sequence. And finally, Wednesday comes home with a nice cliche twist, rebelling to be non-gothic for the thrill of how Mother responds. So she plans to do it some more with Parker. Gotta also love a modern gag that filters don't affect Wednesday. Was it written by 3 people, but only one of them was good or something? How do I love and hate elements of this film? Like, look at this. Morticia is now having a seance call with her dead parents, perfectly lining up for a gag we heard earlier.
The sconces were a gift from dead relatives.
If we get rid of them, they'll be terribly hurt the next time they visit.
Anyway, they calm her concerns for Wednesday. Oh yeah, there's the sword fighting plotline. The boy's not just the buttable punchlines. When was the last time we saw this plot? Oh, 21 minutes ago, in a 1 hour, 20-minute movie. And so, Pugsley obviously fails. Not in too grand a way, though. That'd be too interesting.
I failed him, Fester.
You have, Gomez. Why are you training him when there's only 1 day left? There was a 2-week time jump in the last 21 minutes. Ugh.
I like it like that.
All right, thank you, Grandma. We already have a band.
Congrats! You found the joke that perfectly split me down the middle. I hate the music choice, uninspired pop culture moment, but the premise is pretty alright. You know, when digging more into the production details of this movie, I came to find out this film had a measly budget of $24 million to animate the movie, but MGM chucked in $150 million for its global marketing campaign. 150! I remember vividly being hounded by Addams advertising everywhere. It was rife. Posters with cringy taglines, animated recipes and makeup tips, lottery tickets, food collabs with Kit Kat cereal, cereal bars, Hershey, IHOP, Icy. This is just ridiculous. And clearly, the main point. Addams Family is more than just a story, it is a brand, and gaining the rights leads into so much profit when used in every way possible. And apparently, across all expenses used, this project's gained a net profit of $72 million. Triple the animation budget, but half the marketing. So they're hired for the event. Wednesday rocks up in pink and Parker has gone all goth. Hilarity ensues.
Now go wipe that depressing goop off your face.
You first.
And that's enough to spark more attacks on the Addams Family. It's more neighborhood peeps, so it's not really a progression at all, is it? Nothing has changed since the 15 minutes last time we were here. This dance routine doesn't really look all that difficult. Apart from step 4, they're literally always on 2 feet. Just a couple splits here and there. Nowhere in the book does it say use your feet. If you're gonna show it to us directly multiple times, you should probably put in at least a little more effort. And then Wednesday pops up saying she's leaving. And now Morticia is sad. If only you followed the advice of your parents and just trusted her. Instead, resetting every time we see you make the movie go longer. Ooh.
When the day is long.
Hey, finally Lurch has an okay joke. I mean, it's been done before, and I kinda wish it was the actual VA singing, but you gotta root for what you can with such an underdog movie. Besides, he's already the director and writer, so you can't ask for too much. So this is potentially the guy who makes or breaks this movie. Also directing Monsters vs. Alien and Sausage Party and Madagascar 3 and Shrek 2? It's the sad song for the sad characters, but I'll probably get copy striked for showing too much, so skip. Margot is on a call with her boss and has the bodacious claim that
I intend to bring the house down.
Reminder, so far she has done almost nothing, and her final task is still the same one from when she first discovered it. Oh, come on, I just skipped a mainstream song, now we're raving on another one? In case you're wondering why It's the Hairball is introduced with Snoop Dogg, it's because that's who voices him. Meanwhile, the teens discover Margot's hidden spy room, mostly because Parker can't stand not having her phone, because, you know, that's a personality you can write in depth. And with the spy room comes hidden cameras in all the new houses.
And there's our science teacher, Miss Gravely, putting her...
And then the mum catches them and jails them in the attic, literally kidnapping them.
I knew I should have picked to live with my dad.
She's a divorce kid. That's the joke. And down in town, the Addams family have all begun to arrive. With spider cars and hedge hair and all, time to initiate the big plan.
What we always do, Glenn, help people.
It's that damn neighborhood app again! And Parker is the one who can't put it down? What does this ever achieve? Oh, this time it's a plan of action to congruate. By the way, Hotel Transylvania 1 released 7 years before this, and it's suddenly feeling very much like a hotel experience. And now all the humans are starting their mob. March? But the torches are on their phones? This movie is weirdly phone-centric, but I don't think it's smart enough to be doing commentary on it. Also, the teens immediately escape their kidnapping. And now, in the final 15 minutes, it's all coming together. All the Addams are here, barely even given gags. They're just background characters as we see the two grannies argue, and then we initiate the Berserker event, starting with some ceremonious reading.
Read it out.
That's not Finn Wolfhard. And that's just a stock sound effect.
And now the transition into manhood.
Oh, what the fuck? This took me 2 years to grow on my chin, and we're supposed to just roll with that anyway? Seriously? And now, it's finally time for the sword display dance, the Saber Berserker. Ah, finally, a hint of theatrics. I guess all the animation has been saved up for the big finale, huh? And now, apparently, the whole dance was footsie tricks. That wasn't in the book. And the whole sequence is now an involvement with the entire family, each fighting or dancing or getting in Pugsley's way somehow. It's nice to see, but none of this was established, and I feel cheated. None of this was part of the training. And then it's over, and Pugsley gives up, saying he has let his father down.
I was so focused on doing things the traditional way. I forgot to let you be who you are.
Right, because that's how you write an ending to this arc. Cliché, out of nowhere, and logically against everything the Addams are standing for. Pugsley's character wasn't even being oppressed, unless you count disarming his explosives, which were still prevalent afterwards anyway. Just an oof all around. And then... the whole house is soon to come apart, and the Addams family need to protect their family again. Literally.
Go ahead. Show them what you're good at.
And then Pugly goes on to commit 52 murders, perfectly committing to that traditional dance the moment he uses a bomb, because that doesn't shatter the entire idea that the traditional dance was meaningless. Oh, and in keeping this PG-13, Pugsley only attacks the boulders. These guys may be monsters, but they're not criminals. Okay, sometimes they're criminals, but only petty ones. Nice! Why couldn't we have gotten more of this? Oof. You know, up to this point, this has been a pretty flat movie. It looks flat, the voice acting is flat, and the writing is pretty flat in a lot of places. And it irks me that I enjoyed every other joke and despised the other half. But what's especially frustrating is imagining just what gold it could have been with the stop motion again and Tim Burton's touch. Though it still had Chris Meledandri and Illumination on board back then, so perhaps it was a horror story to begin with. It stopped development for a reason. In the end, this movie made $203.7 million at the box office and was more than profitable enough for a sequel. But Finn Wolfhard didn't return as Pugsley. Makes sense. He was probably the weakest anyway, but good for him. With scripts as lazy and outdated as this, I don't think anyone can pull off a grand performance. And as all the family is cornered and trapped, you think they're all gonna die, but of course not. They have a family holiday to go on in the sequel, and Wednesday is here.
Hope I'm not crashing the party.
Cliche, and everyone is pulled to safety. So as they all gently come to terms with their safety and the loss of the house, even the regular humans start to see them as people, as a family. That's a much less evil way of putting it. And of course, Margot is still full Nazi, and then, in standard expositing ways, Wednesday explains they all have hidden cameras installed in their homes and tells of the secrets everyone has that makes them all freaks. And so they finally turn on Margot.
Listen, you lemmings!
Man, now another connection with Norm of the North. Lemmings are being mentioned. What is going on with me lately?
I expect you to convince those brainless peons, you hear me?
Actually, Mom, everyone can hear you. You've been live this whole time.
Oh, and it's another cliche writing scheme. I should really make a terrible movie bingo card. Yep, you know how it goes. Exposed to the world means cancelled off the air. Surprisingly, a cliche that gets more relevant. And as a sorry from the town, everyone helps rebuild the house back up. Hilarity ensues. Not really. And the town is transformed as the Addams move into the 50 unsold houses, and Uncle Fester gets with Margot.
Her breath is like a baby's diaper.
I didn't think he said breath the first time. And with the newly refurbished Luigi's mansion and the spirit inside cursing it, because apparently that's how it works, they pose for a picture a la the original Addams Family, and they call it a day there. Oh no, not quite. They've got to faithfully recreate the original opening theme. A nice reference for nostalgic fans, but again, pretty heavy-handed. But I can appreciate the effort for detail. Family. Okay, piss off. We're done now. But on that, I guess we'll cover the holiday sequel next year, or maybe all the strange, freshly animated marketing. For now, my name's been Dazz, you didn't really care, and I'll see you in a bit.